Chapter 15. Robin watched Marion go, his heart feeling as if it were being torn from his chest. Half of him wanted to run after her, tell her he was sorry, that he'd do anything she wanted as long as she didn't leave. But in the end, he forced his feet to stay planted firmly on the ground, because what she was asking for was too much. He could not be selfish. He could not burn down everything he'd built in the forest, as much as he might want to, for her. He shifted uncomfortably from foot to foot, her accusations running through his head. He knew she wasn't wrong. Things were bad in England. It was easy to forget that, hiding out in the forest each day. But he knew, deep down, how bad it must be for the animals living under Prince John's cruel command, and it would likely only get worse as time went on. But this wasn't like the war they fought in the north, where the rightful line of succession was being threatened in England. There were no challengers with a valid claim to the throne, which meant there were no other side to fight for. And even if Marion were to manage to stir up some kind of revolution, how could she possibly win? Prince John had a castle, an army, an endless amount of gold. No one could stand up to that. Any hint of unrest would be quickly squashed, and those who sparked that unrest would pay with their lives. "Are you all right, Robbie?" Robin turned to find Little John coming through the trees, concern written on his furry face. The bear must have left camp to look for him when he failed to come back after finding Marion. He was a good friend, Little John. Robin was lucky to have him. He forced a lazy smile to his face and waved to the bear as if nothing were amiss. The last thing he needed was for Little John or the other merry men to see how shaken up he was over Marion's visit. They saw him as their fearless leader and depended on his steadfastness. He couldn't let them know how close he'd just come to completely falling apart. "Why, I'm as fit as a fiddle, Johnny," he declared, leaving the forest's edge to head towards his friend. "Or I will be anyway, as soon as I get myself a second helping of your delicious stew. I have to say, all this rescuing of damsels in distress makes for one famished fox." Little John crinkled his eyes worriedly. "Is our damsel all right?" he asked, looking around as if half expecting to find Marion hiding in the bushes. "She's fine," Robin assured him. "I let her out of the forest, and she's probably halfway back to the castle by now." He left out the part about deciding not to blindfold her. He trusted Marion, but he knew the others might worry. "Well, that's good, I suppose," Little John replied. "I'd hate for anything to happen to her, and I'm sorry the men started laughing. Once you left, I gave them a good talking to. They won't laugh again, I assure you." Robin gave him a rueful smile. "Thank you," he said, "but I don't think it'll matter. No doubt we'll be seeing her much from now on. I doubt we'll be seeing her much from now on." He felt Little John's pitying gaze. "Which is for the best," he added quickly. "Now come on, let's get back before the others eat all my stew." Together they headed through the forest. When they arrived at the camp, everyone was still sitting around the fire, but no one was talking much, and there was no cheery music for Alan Adele to lighten the mood. Instead, they were all staring into the fire with troubled looks on their faces. She'd gotten to them, Robin realized, despite their initial laughter, just as she'd gotten to him. "Is everything all right?" asked Much gruffly when he saw Robin. "Did the lady get home safely?" added Alan, to his credit, looking concerned. "Are you sure she won't inform the sheriff of our location?" Will Scarlet piped up. "Perhaps it would be wise to move camp, just in case." Murmurs rose from the others. It seemed Will was not the only one with this concern. Robin sighed, then clapped his paws to get their attention. "Everything is fine," he declared with a bravado he hoped sounded believable, "and our location is safe. Lady Marion is a dear friend of mine, and I trust her with my life." "But the sheriff," Much protested. Robin waved him off with a grin. "Please, if you knew Marion, you know the sheriff should be afraid of her, not the other way around." There was some reluctant laughter at this, and Robin caught a few jokes being made at the sheriff's expense. His shoulders dropped in relief. Turning to Aladale, he nodded. Now, how about a nice tune to liven up this motley crew? I think I can manage that. The rooster picked up his lute. He strummed the strings for a few moments, then broke out into a well-known, boisterous tavern tune, this time swapping out the regular lyrics for a wild tale of the great Robin Hood and his merry men. Soon everyone was singing along to the chorus and swinging their mugs from side to side, all worries forgotten, at least for the night. Well, mostly anyway. Robin grabbed a ladle and helped himself to more stew. But in truth, he wasn't that hungry, and his stomach still churned with the memory of Marian, sitting by his very fire only an hour before. She'd been so close. He could have reached out and pulled her into his arms, fulfilled the promise he'd made her 3 years earlier, to never part again. Instead, he'd let her walk away. But it was for the best, he reminded himself. He couldn't be what she needed him to be, so it was better to let her go. Perhaps in time she'd find another fox, one more suitable for her, a fox who was everything Robin was not, who could give her what she needed. He wanted that for her, even if the idea broke his heart.